Hello, everyone. My name is Athenkosi Mehlomakulu. I'm a civil practitioner in the Durban office. I primarily work with estate legal matters which involve minor children. Today, we'll be talking about what is the Master's Office, what services does the Master Office provide, and who would need to approach the Masters, and when would one need to approach the Masters. The Master of the High Court is there to service the public in respect of estate matters, deceased estate matters, liquidation matters, which are insolvent estates, registration of trusts, tutors and curators, as well as administration of the guardian fund, primarily for minors and mentally challenged persons. The Master of the High Court has a wide interaction with the members of the public and practitioners, which are your legal practitioners and trust companies. The Master of the High Court also strives to protect the financial interest of persons whose assets are or interests are, for various reasons, being managed by other people. There are various offices of the Master and satellite offices in the country. To mention a few, it's the Bloemfontein office, the Bishop office, the one in Cape Town, one in Durban, Johannesburg, Kimberley, Mafikeng, Nelspruit, Polokwane. In some of the provinces, there are more than one Master of the High Court, and they have their satellite offices, which are your service point. Moving on to the second question, what services do they offer? These are some of the services offered by the Master of the High Court. Number one, it's the administration of deceased estates. Number two would be the registration of trusts. Number three would be the appointment of curators. Number four would be liquidations in insolvent estates. Number five is the guardian fund. I will focus more on the two services that the Master offers and that we as legal aid deal with mostly. These are the estate late matters, administration of those, and the guardian fund. When would one need to approach the Master of the Office? The Deceased Estate Division of the Masters supervises the administration of deceased estates. The purpose is to ensure an orderly winding up of the financial affairs of the deceased and the protection of the financial interests of the heirs or beneficiaries of the estate. A deceased estate comes into existence when a person dies, leaving property or a document which is a will or purports to be a will. Such estate must then be administered and distributed in terms of the deceased will, or failing which a valid will in terms of the Interstate Succession Act. The procedure which must be followed to administer a deceased estate is prescribed in the Administration of Estates Act. At the death of an estate of the deceased person, the estate is frozen. No one may withdraw any funds from the deceased accounts or deal with any of the estate assets without the necessary permission from the Master of the High Court. When a person dies, you report their death at the Master's Office if the deceased has an estate or property, which are the assets that the person would have accumulated during their lifetime. The death of a person who dies within the Republic and leaves property or any document that is a will or is intended as a will. The death of a person who dies outside the Republic of South Africa, but who leaves property and or any document that is a will or is intended as a will in the Republic of South Africa must be registered or reported at the Master's Office. Where must estates be reported? Where the deceased was living in the Republic of South Africa, the estate must be reported within the jurisdiction of the Master of the High Court in whose jurisdiction the deceased lived in 12 months prior to his or her death. Where the deceased was not living in the Republic, the death may be reported at any of the Master's offices in the country that one would prefer to use. As from the 5th of December 2002, all magistrate offices are designated service points for the Master of the High Court, and the estate can be reported there. However, one should take account that these service points have a limited jurisdiction. All estates with wills, as well as estates that exceed 125,000 rands in value, will be transferred to the Provincial Master's Office. Therefore, it is advisable that to report these estates directly to the Master's Office. Note further that if the estate value is less than 250,000 rands, there is a minor child or a minor heir in the estate, the matter will then be referred to Legal Aid SA by the Master's Office, and the client will then be assisted further in this regard. The estate of the deceased person must be reported at the Master's Office within 14 days of the death of the deceased. However, it does not mean that if you have not reported the death within 14 days, you cannot at a later stage then report the death of the deceased at the Master's. You can then report the death of the deceased at any time that you are able to, after the 14 days has expired. The death is to be reported by any person who has control or possession of any property or document that is or intended to be a will of the deceased. The estate is reported by lodging a completed death notice and other reporting documents with the Master's Office. These documents can be obtained from the Master's Office or from the magistrate's offices throughout the country. The people at the Masters or the practitioners at the Masters will assist you in lodging the estate and reporting it, and they will assist you with completing all the necessary documents when reporting the estate. Where a person dies without a will, your estate will devolve in terms of the rules of interstate succession. This is the majority of the matters that we as Legal Aid South Africa deal with on a daily basis. Once the estate has been reported and all the necessary documents have been filed with the Master's Office, the Master will issue a letter of authority for estates that are less than 250,000 rands, or a letter of executorship for estates that are more than 250,000 rands. The appointed Master's representative in respect of letters of authority, or the executor in respect of letters of executorship, will attend to the administration of the estate, wherein the executor collects all the funds in the estate and liquidate all the immovable property or movable properties. Then they will then pay the debts of the estate. They will then pay all the expenses for the estate. The residue of the estate will then be divided amongst the beneficiaries of the estate or the heirs of the deceased. In a case where there is a minor child, the share of the minor or a mentally challenged person is deposited into the guardian fund for safekeeping. The major beneficiaries are paid their shares directly from the estate by the executor of the estate. This now brings me to the second focus point, which is the guardian fund. The purpose of the guardian fund is to protect the funds of minors, persons lacking legal competency and capacity, known or unknown, absent and untraceable heirs. Our duty as Legal Aid South Africa is to protect the interest of the minor child or heir or persons with mental disabilities. The interests of the minor child are paramount, and thus legal aid assists in this regard. We protect the minor's interest by depositing the funds of the minor into the guardian fund in order to regulate the use of the minor's inheritance. Once we have made a deposit into the guardian fund, the guardian of the minor will then have access to the fund if they make an application to the guardian fund listing the expenses of the minor so that they can be taken care of. Once the minor turns 18 years of age, they can then withdraw the funds from the guardian fund themselves. It is important to note that the funds deposited to the guardian fund accumulate interest once they have been allocated to a specific reference number for that particular minor or the estate. This information can be accessed from the website of the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development under the master. The website address is www.justice.gov.za. I hope you found this information useful and that you'll use it. For further information, you can call our toll-free line, which is 0800 110 110. And also you can send a please call me to 079 835 7179. They'll further assist you with any questions that you might have. Thank you very much.